the whole video is essentially, her doing her thing with a guy and Diddy just walking around naked, essentially. And he's not packing. Let's just say that he is not well endowed under there. No Diddy, and it makes sense as to why he's done this, to say the least. It makes sense now. The dots have connected for me.
What if the ultimate internet bully just got hit with the ultimate biological plot twist? Are we witnessing the final boss move in the pettiest rap war of the century? Or did the internet just completely break reality? Welcome back, because today the digital world is not just smoking, it is practically on fire. For years, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson has been the undefeated king of online trolling, laughing from his digital throne while single-handedly dismantling Sean Diddy Combs. But what happens when the hunter suddenly becomes the ultimate prey? A bombshell, highly classified insider report has allegedly slipped through the cracks, and the claims are radioactive. Word on the street is that leaked DNA results just dropped online, boldly claiming that 50 Cent's 14-year-old son, Sire Jackson, is not actually his. Instead, the documents point the biological finger directly at none other than Diddy himself. Oh, you better believe 50 Cent did not just sit back and take this. He has officially erupted into an absolute volcanic rage, blasting social media in a frenzy to control a narrative that could potentially annihilate his entire legacy. Is this the most sinister, calculated piece of revenge ever orchestrated from a prison cell? Or is it a catastrophic truth that was hiding in plain sight for over a decade? Grab your popcorn, lock your doors, and do not blink. We are diving deep into the absolute madness because this biological countdown has officially hit zero. And nobody is safe. The internet did not just glitch when this news hit the timeline. It completely collapsed under the weight of pure, unadulterated chaos. To understand why this specific claim is threatening to erase 50 Cent's entire digital identity, we have to look at the players involved and the sheer amount of bad blood that has been boiling between them for over a decade. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson is not just a rapper or a television mogul. He is a certified assassin on social media, who has spent the last few years turning Diddy's legal downfalls into his personal comedy special. Every single time Diddy faced a new allegation, a new lawsuit, or a new raid, 50 Cent was right there on Instagram and Twitter, posting memes, selling documentary ideas, and laughing like a supervillain. He positioned himself as the ultimate voice of accountability in hip-hop, the one man who was completely untouchable and unafraid to expose the darkest secrets of the industry. He built a brand on being the guy who knows everything about everyone, while keeping his own closet completely clean and free of skeletons. But that entire empire of mockery was built on the foundation of absolute personal security, which is exactly why this leaked document is causing a total nuclear meltdown behind closed doors. Enter Daphne Joy, the mother of 50 Cent's 14-year-old son, Sire Jackson, and a woman whose name has suddenly become the bridge between two of the biggest enemies in music history. For years, Daphne was seen merely as 50 Cent's stunning ex-girlfriend from the early 2010s, a quiet figure raising their heavily adored son, while 50 flaunted his fatherhood all over red carpets and million-dollar modeling contracts for the boy. That peaceful, wealthy illusion shattered into a million pieces when Daphne's name was officially stamped onto a massive federal lawsuit targeting Diddy's alleged underworld operations. Suddenly, she was no longer just the mother of 50's favorite son. She was officially placed in Diddy's immediate orbit, exposing a crossover that 50 Cent tried desperately to hide or neutralize. The narrative immediately shifted from 50 Cent being a righteous crusader fighting for justice to a man frantically trying to build a fortress around his household before a devastating secret managed to crawl out. This is not just your average Hollywood gossip or a petty rumor started by a couple of bored users on an anonymous message board looking for clicks. The source that allegedly dropped these paternity documents is the exact same deeply embedded insider pipeline that managed to accurately leak the entire episodic layout of the Netflix documentary before a single trailer had even been edited. This track record of absolute, chilling accuracy is the exact reason why the entire music industry has gone completely silent, holding its collective breath while staring at the timeline in absolute horror. The level of panic inside 50 Cent's camp right now is said to be completely unprecedented, with publicists and lawyers working around the clock to suppress what could be the most embarrassing defeat in rap history. For a man who built his entire career on surviving 9 bullets and mocking his rivals into absolute obscurity, The mere suggestion that he was outsmarted in his own home is a psychological death sentence. He has spent the last 14 years proudly displaying Sire as his mini-me, using the boy as proof of his success as a family man and a protective provider. If these leaked DNA findings hold even a single percentage of truth, it means that while 50 Cent was busy playing chess with the entire world, Diddy was playing a completely different game under the table. The sheer irony of the situation is enough to make your head spin, considering 50 Cent spent the better part of the last 2 years screaming for Diddy to be locked up for good. He positioned himself as the hunter, the grand prosecutor of hip-hop, only to realize that the man he was hunting had allegedly left a permanent genetic stamp inside his own family tree. Emphatic whispers from inside the industry suggest that the timeline of Daphne Joy's movements between the two moguls back in 2011 and 2012 matches up with a terrifying level of precision. During the exact month she was publicly tied to 50 Cent, she was also secretly moving through the lavish, highly exclusive circles controlled by Diddy. It was a period of absolute wildness and hidden entanglements, a time when loyalty was easily bought and secrets were buried under layers of non-disclosure agreements and expensive lifestyle upgrades. Now those layers of security have completely dissolved, leaving 50 Cent standing in the middle of a digital coliseum with nowhere left to hide from the incoming arrows. He has spent years telling his audience to never trust anyone in the entertainment business, constantly preaching about how fake and deceptive the people around him truly are. It turns out his own warnings might have been a subconscious reflection of the massive, ticking time bomb that was sitting right in his living room this entire time. The public is currently watching a man who used to fire off 20 insulting memes a day suddenly turn into a frantic damage control machine, deleting posts and lashing out at random commentators. This is not the behavior of an unbothered king laughing at a fake rumor. This is the frantic behavior of a man who realizes his armor has been completely pierced. The controversy is spreading faster than any virus, mutating with every single hour that passes without a definitive, legally verified denial from 50 Cent himself. Every single media outlet is currently scrambling to get a piece of the action, but nobody wants to be the first to officially print the allegations without seeing the physical papers. Yet, the internet does not require a courtroom judge to pass a verdict, and the court of public opinion has already started dissecting every single old video of 50 and his son. People are zooming in on facial structures, analyzing old interviews, and looking for any subtle hint that could prove a biological connection to the Harlem mogul instead of the Queen's rapper. It is a level of public degradation that 50 Cent has inflicted on dozens of other artists throughout his career, from Ja Rule to Fat Joe to Floyd Mayweather. He has always been the one holding the camera, laughing at the misfortune of others and turning their personal tragedies into content for his millions of followers. Now the tables have turned in the most brutal way imaginable, and the entire world is holding up the camera to his face, waiting to see if he blinks. The psychological warfare being played out right now is deeper than any rap beef we have ever witnessed because it touches on the one thing 50 Cent values above all else: his pride. He can lose money, he can lose television deals, and he can lose lawsuits, but he absolutely cannot tolerate being laughed at by the masses. The leaked report claims that a highly sensitive test was conducted quietly after a massive argument regarding Daphne's past financial ties to Diddy's estate. According to these unverified but highly detailed accounts, the results were supposed to be locked away in a private database, secured by a team of high-priced corporate fixers. But in the digital age, nothing stays buried forever, especially when there are factions within the industry who have been waiting over 20 years to see 50 Cent finally fall. The leak was timed with absolute malicious perfection, hitting the internet right when 50 Cent was celebrating another massive business victory, instantly souring his triumph. The silence coming from Diddy's legal team inside his federal holding facility is equally terrifying, acting as a loud mocking echo that amplifies the validity of the rumor. Diddy does not need to send a tweet or post a video to participate in this destruction. His past actions and his notorious reputation speak entirely for themselves. If he managed to pull off a deception of this magnitude 14 years ago, it means he has been sitting in his mansion for over a decade, watching 50 Cent insult him, while knowing he held the ultimate trump card. This realization is exactly what is driving the current volcanic eruption from 50 Cent, who is reportedly tearing through his inner circle trying to find the mole who leaked the documents. He knows that the longer this story sits in the atmosphere without a clean, undisputed resolution, the more it hardens into accepted fact in the minds of the public. The golden boy image of Sire Jackson, the innocent child who was supposed to inherit a massive media empire, is now permanently entangled in a web of adult malice and industry warfare. We are watching the structural collapse of a legendary reputation in real time, and the transition from this initial shocking exposure into the actual breakdown of the leaked documents themselves is where the story gets incredibly dark and detailed. The transition from this initial shocking exposure into the actual breakdown of the leaked documents themselves is where the story gets incredibly dark and detailed. According to the highly classified papers circulating through underground digital networks, this was not a simple swab test done at a local clinic. The leaked data suggests an incredibly sophisticated, multi-layered genetic breakdown that was allegedly cross-referenced across 3 independent laboratory databases to ensure absolute accuracy. The paperwork details specific chromosomal markers that forensic experts used to determine direct biological lineage with absolute certainty. Anonymous sources claim that the datasheets clearly display a 0% probability of paternal match for Curtis Jackson, while showing a staggering 99.9% match for Sean Combs. This specific technical detail is what sent shockwaves through the entire hip-hop community, because it leaves absolutely no room for administrative errors or simple laboratory mix-ups. To make matters even more chaotic, the leaked file allegedly includes private email chains between high-level corporate fixers discussing how much money it would take to permanently erase these records from the main server. The digital footprints show that someone spent hundreds of thousands of dollars attempting to buy the silence of the technicians involved, but a rogue employee decided the truth was worth more than a corporate payoff. This exposure of massive financial desperation is exactly what has fans convinced that the documents are completely authentic. Public reactions have turned into a total circus across every major social media platform, with millions of users creating side-by-side comparison videos of the teenager and the incarcerated mogul. People are picking apart old red carpet footage, pointing out identical mannerisms, similar smiles and facial structures that they claim are impossible to ignore now that the secret is out. Memes are flooding the internet at a rate that has completely overwhelmed 50 Cent's usual digital defense teams, who are usually the ones starting the internet fires. An imaginary quote attributed to a prominent industry insider, who allegedly worked closely with Daphne Joy during the 2012 era, claims that this secret was common knowledge among a very tight circle of elite models. The quote describes how Daphne was allegedly terrified of 50 Cent's notorious temper, and went to extreme lengths to ensure the two moguls never crossed paths in the same city. The insider claims she was receiving massive, undocumented wire transfers from a shell corporation tied to Diddy's business managers for years under the guise of lifestyle consulting. These claims of lavish spending and hidden financial arrangements have painted a picture of absolute corruption and calculated deception that has left the public completely stunned. People are now looking back at 50 Cent's frantic filing for sole custody back in early 2024 as a desperate attempt to seize control of the child's legal documents before anyone else could look into them. It appears his aggressive legal strategy was not about protecting his son from an unstable environment, but rather a calculated preemptive strike to lock down the narrative. The internet commentary has turned incredibly sarcastic, with users pointing out that 50 Cent's entire career of being a savage bully has officially backfired on a celestial scale. For years, he laughed at his rivals for being unfaithful, for losing their families, and for being outsmarted in business, yet he was allegedly blind to the massive deception happening under his own roof. The level of public mockery he is facing right now is completely unprecedented, and his usual strategy of laughing things off is completely failing him. Instead of his usual arrogant humor, 50 Cent's recent online behavior has been described by insiders as a series of chaotic, unhinged tantrums aimed at anyone mentioning the word genetics. He has reportedly threatened to sue multiple independent content creators, issued copyright strikes against commentary channels, and blocked thousands of followers who asked simple questions about the test. This heavy-handed censorship has only added fuel to the fire, convincing the public that he is terrified of what a deeper investigation will reveal. The breakdown of the leaked files also details an incredible amount of luxury bribes that were allegedly used to keep Daphne Joy from ever requesting an official paternity test through the court system. The documents list expensive penthouses in Los Angeles, fleets of luxury vehicles, and millions of dollars in monthly allowances that were all funneled through complex legal trusts designed to avoid public scrutiny. It reveals an entire underworld of celebrity cover-ups where millions of dollars are traded just to keep a single child's birthright completely hidden from the world. While the public continues to laugh and create viral content out of this disaster, the reality of the situation is causing a total panic among major corporate sponsors who are tied to 50 Cent's television networks. If his reputation as an untouchable, street-smart genius is replaced by the image of a man who was deceived for 14 years, his entire brand value could drop overnight. Television executives are reportedly holding emergency meetings to discuss how to distance their upcoming projects from the toxic cloud of this scandal. The sheer scale of the alleged corruption involves not just the parents, but a network of corrupt doctors, high-priced lawyers, and entertainment executives who all had an interest in keeping 50 Cent happy and productive. Everyone knew that if this specific bomb ever detonated, it would cause a multi-million-dollar collapse across several major media platforms. Now that the shield of secrecy has been shattered by a single digital leak, all of those corporate players are frantically pointing fingers at each other. The imaginary leaks continue to drop in real time, with new pages of the medical report surfacing on alternative media sites every few hours, keeping the narrative alive and burning. One specific page claims to show a private text message from Daphne to a close friend, where she allegedly admits that she never expected the truth to come out because Diddy had promised her total protection. The text describes her deep anxiety about 50 Cent eventually finding out and using his massive wealth to completely destroy her life and career. This revelation has shifted a lot of the public sympathy toward the 14-year-old boy, who has suddenly been thrust into the center of a toxic global rap war through no fault of his own. He went from being celebrated as the proud heir to a massive queen's legacy to being discussed as a pawn in a sinister game of corporate retaliation between two billionaires. The psychological damage of having your entire identity debated by millions of strangers on the internet is something that no amount of child support money can ever fix. Yet, the digital coliseum does not care about collateral damage, and the memes continue to escalate in cruelty and precision, forcing 50 Cent into a deeper corner. His friends in the industry, from high-profile rappers to Hollywood actors, have completely vanished from his comment sections, refusing to offer any public support during his darkest hour. They know that in the entertainment business, associating with a man whose pride has been completely broken is a quick way to get caught in the crossfire. The public reaction has reached a point of no return, where even if 50 Cent were to produce a completely valid government-certified DNA test right now, half the world would still believe it was forged by his legal team. He has spent so many years manipulating the media and creating fake narratives to destroy his enemies that the public now assumes he is doing the exact same thing to save himself. He is trapped in a prison of his own making, where his historical lack of credibility has finally come back to destroy his personal life. The financial breakdown of the situation reveals that 50 Cent has allegedly spent over $2 million in legal fees in the last 3 months alone, trying to block international media outlets from publishing the full, unredacted file. His legal team has filed emergency injunctions in 3 different countries, but the decentralized nature of the internet makes stopping a leak completely impossible. The papers are already saved on thousands of hard drives across the globe, waiting to be analyzed by anyone with an internet connection. As the public reactions continue to mutate from simple jokes into a serious discussion about industry corruption, the legal and financial fallout of this biological nightmare is starting to take a terrifying shape. The transition from this public circus into the actual legal consequences, federal probes, and systemic collapse is where the true terror begins for everyone involved. The transition from this public circus into the actual legal consequences, federal probes, and systemic collapse is where the true terror begins for everyone involved. What started as a viral internet topic has officially crossed over into the serious world of high-stakes legal warfare and potential financial ruin. Lawyers representing multiple factions are currently preparing a massive wave of court filings that could drag this entire paternity dispute out of the court of public opinion and into a strict federal arena. The biggest immediate threat to 50 Cent is the sudden volatile instability of his multi-million-dollar television production contracts. Major network executives are reportedly reviewing the standard morality clauses inside his executive producer agreements to see if this public scandal constitutes a breach of contract. If his brand identity shifts from an untouchable, genius storyteller into a highly compromised figure wrapped in a historic family scandal, corporate advertisers may pull their funding entirely. Financial analysts project that a sudden termination of his current broadcast deals could trigger an immediate financial crisis for his media empire, wiping out over $100 million in projected revenue. The stock prices of media conglomerates tied to his upcoming streaming projects have already shown a nervous downward trend since the rumor surfaced. This economic pressure is exactly why his legal team is moving with an unprecedented level of aggression to suppress any further leaks. At the same time, an entirely separate legal crisis is brewing regarding the massive unverified trusts that were established for the teenager over the last decade. If a court-ordered forensic audit takes place as a result of a formal paternity challenge, every single financial transaction tied to Daphne Joy's estate will be laid bare under oath. Federal investigators who are already looking into the wider financial networks of the entertainment industry could easily use this discovery process to uncover hidden assets, tax evasion schemes, and illegal corporate wire transfers. The hypothetical fallout does not stop at financial loss. It extends directly into the possibility of heavy government probes into the laboratories and legal firms that allegedly managed the private files. If it is proven that high-price fixers used bribery, extortion, or corporate intimidation to alter public birth records or falsify medical data, criminal charges could be brought against several high-profile professionals. This transformation of a celebrity gossip story into a literal criminal conspiracy has everyone in Hollywood completely terrified. Rumors are already circulating that multiple senior executives inside 50 Cent's own management team are quietly preparing their resignations to protect their own professional reputations before the full hammer of the law drops. These industry veterans know that when a scandal involves federal oversight, the ship sinks incredibly fast, and nobody wants to be left holding the bag. The atmosphere inside his corporate headquarters is described as incredibly tense, with employees expecting mass layoffs and sudden structural shutdowns. Meanwhile, the public backlash is growing more coordinated, with activist groups and parenting organizations demanding that both moguls step down from their respective charitable foundations and public-facing roles. They argue that using a minor child as a strategic weapon in a multi-year corporate rap war is completely unacceptable and morally bankrupt. This shift in public sentiment is making it incredibly difficult for 50 Cent's remaining PR allies to paint him as the innocent victim of a malicious internet hoax. The legal team representing Daphne Joy is also reportedly preparing a massive defamation and privacy lawsuit against any media entity that published the unredacted medical documents. However, this legal move is a massive double-edged sword because a defamation suit would require her to provide absolute, undeniable proof that the documents are fake. To do that, she would have to submit to a completely transparent court-monitored DNA test, which is the exact scenario everyone is desperately trying to avoid. If she refuses to take a court-ordered test during her own lawsuit, the judge could dismiss the case entirely, which the public would instantly view as a total confession of guilt. The strategic options available to her camp are completely shrinking by the hour, leaving her caught between total public humiliation and total legal exposure. It is a perfect checkmate situation where every single defensive move leads directly back into the heart of the trap. On the other side of the equation, legal experts speculate that Diddy's appellate lawyers could actually use this entire mess to their advantage during his ongoing criminal sentence appeal. They can argue that the massive public campaign against their client was heavily influenced by a documentary produced by a man who had an undisclosed, deeply toxic personal motive to destroy him. If they can convince a federal judge that the media narrative permanently poisoned the jury pool, it could lead to a significant reduction in his remaining prison time. This specific strategy is what has 50 Cent's camp in a total state of panic, because it means his own massive media victory could become the exact tool that helps his greatest enemy secure an early release. The sheer irony of his documentary being used as grounds for a legal appeal is a twist that not even the most talented Hollywood writers could have invented. It completely reverses the power dynamic of the entire beef, turning 50 Cent's loudest weapon into his biggest legal liability. As the institutional timelines continue to grind forward, the digital world is waiting for the next massive document drop from the mysterious insider pipeline. Speculation is rampant that the next leak will include recorded phone conversations between the key players, which would completely eliminate any remaining doubt about the authenticity of the scandal. If those audio files hit the internet, the narrative will be completely locked in stone, and no amount of legal spin or corporate damage control will be able to save anyone. The economic fallout is also hitting the independent creators and commentary channels who have been covering the story, as automated censorship systems begin to demonetize any video containing the names of the individuals involved. This heavy-handed digital suppression suggests that a massive, coordinated effort is underway behind the scenes to completely scrub the conversation from the internet. But as history has proven time and time again, trying to censor the internet only makes the audience more desperate to find the truth. We are watching a total systemic collapse of an industry giant, a slow-motion car crash where every single attempt to pull the brakes only causes more destruction. The traditional methods of celebrity survival, the high-priced public relations statements, the coordinated magazine interviews, the strategic charitable donations, are completely useless against a decentralized biological leak. The public has completely checked out of the old narrative and is fully invested in this dark, new reality. The final phase of this incredible saga is no longer about who wins the rap war or who controls the narrative on social media. It is about absolute survival. The structures that have protected these multi-billionaire moguls for decades are completely breaking down under the weight of a single genetic question mark. The clock is ticking down to a definitive, legally binding conclusion that will permanently change the landscape of pop culture history. Every single road out of this nightmare leads directly to the same inescapable room where facts cannot be manipulated by clever tweets or aggressive Instagram captions. The entire entertainment world is holding its collective breath, waiting for the final domino to fall, knowing that when it does, the blast radius will completely consume everyone standing near it. The countdown is officially in its final seconds, and the transition into the final dramatic conclusion is about to shatter what is left of the digital world. This biological battlefield has completely rewritten the history of hip-hop, leaving us with a question that could permanently shatter the legacy of the most untouchable troll in digital media. Will 50 Cent find a way to navigate out of this absolute genetic maze? Or has his legendary kingdom of online mockery finally met its ultimate expiration date? The pieces of this toxic puzzle are sitting right in front of us, but the most explosive chapters of this corporate war are still waiting to be unsealed. What is your honest take on this entire situation? Do you think Daphne Joy is holding onto a 14-year-old secret that could dismantle everything? Or is this entire leak a highly calculated hit piece designed to rescue Diddy from his current legal downfall? Drop your thoughts, your theories, and your predictions in the comments section below because the internet is reading every single line, and we need to know where you stand. If you want to stay completely ahead of the curve on this unfolding drama, make sure to hit that like button right now. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on all your notifications so you never miss a single second of these deep, investigative breakdowns. The clock is ticking, more documents are dropping, and you absolutely do not want to be left in the dark when the final truth hits the timeline. Stay tuned, stay safe, and we will see you in the next breakdown.